They're sitting on a couch. It's usually just 2 characters, or sometimes 3 characters. And they're always talking and sitting. They're just sitting in a chair. The pacing sucks. There's no style to anything. It's so boring.
From the concrete shores of Arlington, Texas,
this is the Approximate Podcast
with your hosts,
Jamie French
and Orion Quest. Hey everybody, welcome to the Approximate Podcast. My name is Jamie French, and with me as always, and forever, is Orion Quest. Long live Orion Quest. It's been quite a while since we've put an episode together. Life has gotten really busy. And the show is coming back, but we have some sad news. Anybody that's been paying attention to my social media or the podcast social media knows that we have suffered a terrible loss, and Orion Quest is no longer with us. So this is kind of a memorial show, but since Orion isn't here in physical form, what I've done was I've brought in some of our family. And with me today, I have to my left Jose Jaramillo. We'll say hi, Jose.
Hello.
Okay, and to my right, I have Joe Razzo.
Hey, hello.
And of course, longtime guest of the show and occasional co-host, Stephanie Special.
Hey, everybody.
So these are the guys in Orion and I's band, the last big rock band that Orion and I were in. And as of today, yesterday, we all played a memorial show together with a bunch of great bands in North Texas. And before we start getting into stories about Orion and all the happy and sad stuff that's bound to happen on this episode, let's talk about the show last night. Jose, you screwed the pooch. You really fucked up. Tell us all about it.
I didn't screw up. My guitar did. Well, as such as rock and roll, I have some pretty great equipment, I must say, and it's been flawless up until last night.
Up until the moment you turned it on.
And it's just one of them deals where, if you really care about, keeping up with your stuff, I have 2 guitars that have active pickups, which means they require a 9-volt battery.
Yeah. For
for those that don't understand active. So about an hour.
Just to let you know, it's all musicians that listen to the show.
Okay, well, great.
No.
Great. I love it. I'm going to take a second.
Can you explain what a 9-volt battery is?
Well, here's my point. Okay. Is that I should have just left stuff alone, but and not wanting to be on stage with a half-dead battery an hour before the show, I changed batteries. Could I have screwed up something in the positioning back because I had to wrap some kind of foam little thing to keep it from touching the insides of and all this stuff? I don't know, but it yeah.
It sounded to me like you just didn't turn on your distortion pedal.
Oh, no, that wasn't it.
That wasn't it?
No, because when I went to my amp, everything was fine.
Oh.
And then whenever I moved my cord is where we got the sound.
Oh, shit. Because Joe and I were goofing.
And then when I was doing the solo, it started going, it just squealed like, I don't think the guitar can make such a high-pitched note.
God damn it.
Yeah, no, it was in the electronics, dude.
Yeah, so, there's going to be, I took footage and audio of last night's show, and that's going to go up where everybody can find it. And I mean to cut out that first part, but I don't know if I'm going to leave it in or leave it out, but for people that are listening right now, if you haven't seen the footage at this point or heard the audio, the first song starts off with, really heavy distorted guitar after a 4 count. and it was like
We're supposed to.
1, 2, 3, 4, for like an hour. Oh, it was torture. and our poor drummer, like he had like 1 day of practice with us and like 2 weeks of like practice in his bedroom with the material. And so his only thought, I'm sure, is just keep playing. Just keep playing. Where if it were Orion, he would have stopped, leaned over the kit, and then he would just looked at you.
Gave you one of these. Right?
No, so yeah, I should have just left well enough alone and not changed the battery. But then I was like, man, what if what if that sound happens like what you heard because of the dead battery?
Yeah.
So yeah, I should have just.
You got one of those battery ports, or you got a fucking unscrew
No, I got to take the
you
cover off, and I got to find a spot that it's not going to rub again.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because it didn't have active pickups, and remember, I put some in.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joe and I were goofing on
Just
you.
gear issue.
Before you got here.
I should have stayed with my number one. The Parker never fails.
Yeah, why?
I don't know, because I bought that, but I just wanted to hear it live. Yeah,
so did we.
I apologize. I wanted to redo the song. The people drove from.
Wait. We started the song again. We
started over. Yep.
We started over.
No, I'm talking from where that squeal and then the hum from the monitors.
Oh, the monitors were shit. That was nobody's fault last night. I was thinking that the mics were too close to the monitors because they were kind of hovering right over it.
Well, here's another thing too is they had a 13-year-old kid running sound.
Are you serious?
And I mean, did you not see him?
No, I didn't even.
I mean, the kid was every bit of 18 or 19 probably.
Oh, I had no idea.
I don't know. He's probably 20s.
Which is weird because usually I'd make it a point to meet the sound guy and like pass him a 20 or something.
Well.
But those old habits, man. We haven't played together as a band on stage
20 years.
Almost like 17 years, somewhere around there.
So anyway, to make matters worse, so I get this squeal right in the middle of a note. Like, it wasn't even a note. It was a electronic, you'll hear it, I'm sure. And that, and then I was like, oh my God. And then the monitor was just humming back at me. And then I asked him after the show, I'm like, hey man, so what's up? He's like, oh, that microphone's been screwing up.
Oh, thanks.
The one that's on my amp.
Thanks, douche.
He's like, oh, that microphone's been screwing up for a while. I was
God
like,
damn it.
I know. What else could I say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Oh, you're bringing back the cheeseburger. Oh, the cheese is the cheese has been rotten for a week. So yeah.
But anyway,
we mean to fix that.
As the show went on, I should have just left number one on and played the Parker,
But you went with number 2, and we got number 2.
Yeah, and we got number 2.
Hey, from the audience.
And no toilet paper, man. It just,
No
toilet paper whatsoever.
Steph, you were on the outside looking in. We were up on stage. You had something to say?
From the audience, man. Y'all fucking rocked the house. I rocked the house.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. No, we did not. Joe.
Yeah, we did not.
Yeah.
See,
It didn't feel-
and
didn't feel
I
like
got to
it.
explain this. It's one of those things, like, guys, I'm you have your different classes of, musicians. There's some that don't change drum heads, which I will never play with the drummer that doesn't do that.
Right.
You have your don't change the bass strings, and all you get is this thuddy thud. Yeah, and they wonder why you can't hear the bass or whatever. And then you get the guitar player who doesn't change strings, who doesn't, pay attention to chords. Or I'll have you know, I spent $300 in brand new chords because all I had was pawn shop stuff. Or, Or just the store down the street, little whatever. I actually have great chords. Right, everything was in place. Listen, I was not going to fail. I was not set up to fail, and it just happened. So I don't know. I know. Come on with it. Come on with it, Jamie.
Hey,
You
man.
spent $300 to fail.
Well,
Joe, how did you fuck up?
Oh my gosh.
There was, I'll leave it in because I know you're kind of kind of a little princess about
Nah,
it. And
no.
you don't like it when you
Hey,
make
that was a
mistakes.
cool. Hey, did you
But-
see that jacket he got up with? Oh my gosh, dude!
Talk
I told
about
you,
royalty.
pimp, man.
Talk about royalty.
I know he's Axl Rose in it, changing clothes every other song.
But just to ease you into it, Joe, because I know you're sensitive. I know you're a little cupcake.
Oh. Okay, easy.
Yeah. You sounded, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that for 70% of the night, you were at an 8.5. And all I want you to do is explain to me why you went to a 2 for 30% of the show.
Ooh, a 2.
I'm fucking with you. You had one thing. You had one thing that like bugged the shit out of you, and I didn't hear it because I was busy paying attention to how shitty his guitar was.
Okay, so check this out. I came into that show with concerns, big time concerns. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can probably hear it in my voice right now. But the night before we rehearsed, we ran through the set 3 times or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then some. The next morning, Saturday morning, I could not talk.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
I could
that's
not
right.
speak.
Yeah, you were saying that shit.
And I was like, what am I going to do? I can't. I was in full blown panic mode because I've never been like that before a show, the day of a show. So I'm in panic mode. I'm like, So I'm texting Jose, right? Check this out. So I put in a text and I'm about to send it. And I said, no, I can't send this to them. I'll never hear the end of it. You give me the 3rd degree. Well, did you do this? Did you do that? It's past the point of that. It's not going to help me. So I'm thinking, I ain't going to say nothing. So what seemed to be one of the longest emotional days that I've ever had.
Right.
At the service, I told Jamie, I told him, you know what? I can't talk this morning. I couldn't talk. You're like, oh no. I said, I didn't want anybody else to know. So as the day went by, I'm thinking, okay, we go eat. I'm eating this hot sauce and I'm eating this stuff. I was thinking, is this stuff good? We're all together, we're eating, right? So I ate, but no, it actually is good. It's not bad to have hot sauce on a sore throat.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. But anyway, so we get to the show that night, and I'm thinking, okay, I can do this. Before you guys got there, Gibson Cemetery was on.
Right. That's a local band here in North Texas for those who are listening.
So Jim's up there.
Yeah.
They're a fun band.
Yeah.
They were having fun covers. So they're up there jamming, and they start playing some Iron Maiden. So it's like, oh man. So I gotta go. I can't. I don't want to miss this song.
He couldn't keep his. I know where this is going. Joe couldn't keep his dick in his pants, and he ruined our set to sing one Iron Maiden song.
So hang on. So Motown's up there. A couple other guys up there. So I go up there, right? I got to sing the chorus for Wasted Years, right?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah. It came out wonderful. I was like, oh, I felt good.
I'd rather see that one song than have played last night's show.
Then the 30%.
Hang on. So that was 100% for about 2 minutes. So then did that, and it's like, I better stop now. So I didn't do nothing else. And then we get showtime, and I'm feeling, I'm good. You know, I went and got warmed up and everything, and all that good stuff. And we get ready for the first song, and we start, right? Never in a million years did I think, okay, my voice isn't going to work. It's going to work. And then his guitar doesn't work. And I'm turning to Jose, fix that. And talk to him, Joe.
Yeah. Just talk to him, dude. Let me, yeah. Keep it going, dude.
So we're going through the set, we're going through the show, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm feeling good. And then we come to the one part where I feel like I just blew it in a song, and I know why. I got so comfortable, and I wasn't singing right. And that's what happened. So I know it's, fixable, but that's what happened. So I don't say I got lazy, but it wasn't because I was drinking, because I wasn't drinking. So,
So I played impeccably. I was just fine. And that's that.
I noticed that the sound guy also had some of the mics cut down. I guess that's because like feedback or whatever. But I know you were trying to sing a couple of parts, and your mic was so low that you
Right.
couldn't hear it.
It was. Mine was too.
Yeah. Well, at one point, I pointed at my monitor and I told him to do this, turn it down, and I think he just thought that meant turn my mic
Turn it
off.
off.
So, yeah. Jesus
But it
Christ.
has been a long time. But it was really nice for me anyway, to feel like I was in a real band again for about 45 minutes. It was great.
Yeah. I started feeling really like energetic and like kind of stage worthy, like towards our last 3 songs.
Yeah, that was.
That's when I started like moving around. Like I felt like the old days a little bit. You know,
I saw
towards
you out
the
there
end
whipping
there.
your hair
You
around,
seemed a little
getting on your
stiff at the
A
knees.
beginning
little stiff at the beginning.
because I had to push you.
Yep.
At one point, I had to push you to move you.
Yeah. Because usually during the first part of that, actually it was Fortune.
Fortune. Do, 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 do,
Yeah,
do, do.
we usually come together. I get real close to Jose, and we do that bridge and solo together.
I was so frustrated. I'm
yeah.
sorry. You could just see it. I was like,
Totally.
I mean, that is not how I wanted this,
Well, no, of course not.
regroup to
None
go.
of us
You know,
did,
but
I'm really
such is. I mean,
Yeah. I think once I get all the video and audio put together, it's not going to be as bad as we're remembering it.
I'm really thinking y'all are going hard on yourselves.
well, that's just what we've always done.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
completely
That's what I
understand
mean.
that.
We have from day one have always treated this professional.
Absolutely.
I mean, as much as we could. You know, back in the day, it was a money issue, and
The only difference is years of practice versus one night of practice.
Oh, yeah.
And not having played the songs in over a decade.
And also
So-
really high emotions too. Y'all can't.
Oh,
was-
and Jesus Christ! Like
cut
we
that.
were lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Emotionally drained. Like during the first part of the day, it was all Orion's funeral.
Oh,
So we did just for people to know, like the Orion's funeral was yesterday as well, and that was like relatively early in the morning, especially for people that are like coming in out of town, barely having enough sleep as it is. Wake up, do like 5 hours worth of funeral, then the funeral ends. We all have about 4 or 5 hours to try to get some rest, wake up, and then do a full blown like fucking rock show at a rowdy North Texas bar, all loud and energetic, and it was just a lot to fit into one day. Even with all the time that we had to prepare, it was a lot across the board.
I'll tell you what. As
yeah.
someone who was not performing when we came home from the funeral, I was I felt so drained that I just crashed on the bed and fucking slept until like 30 minutes before we had to go. So I mean, if y'all did the same thing, I completely understand. And
well, I know in preparation,
Yeah.
about the last 2 weeks, I've probably slept maybe 50 hours in the last 2 weeks. It just, it was to a point where, like I told you, we've always treated this professional. So it was a big deal that, my guitar parts were going to be on point, that I was going to be on point. So I'd get up at 3 a.m. and practice a set and then go back and sleep.
Yeah.
And then I have to get up at 5 to get ready for the workday. That kind of deal. So, and then the afternoon I would sleep another hour after I was done. I'm talking the last 2 weeks, and then fit in all practice till whatever, and then wake. I mean, it just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
I would rather have Orion here, but I'm glad this will be over tomorrow.
Yeah.
I just need to sleep. Like,
Yeah, I
can't
think
even.
we all need that. Absolutely. We all sucked, but can we give some praise to the star of last night?
Oh my gosh!
Right?
There were moments, I tell you. I mean,
I watched some of the video that got captured on phone from Bradley Bills,
Bradley Bills.
childhood friend of Orion Quest.
Yeah, came in.
man,
Oh, God. It was so kind of almost miraculous, very fortuitous how we even were able to get him. When, like, just for the audience sake, Orion passed on in the morning of July 4th. And as of the date of this recording, it is now August 8th. So almost the exact month that has passed from Orion's passing to now, we had to figure out everything it takes to put a funeral together, to contact next of kin, to get legal affairs in order. And it's just, anybody that's gone through a death or had to like deal with any of that knows just how, monumental that task is. And halfway through the month, like 2 weeks after Orion's passing, everybody here in Texas, where we're from, got the crazy idea to put a memorial concert together. And we wanted to get everybody in Co back on stage. But we had, of course, no drummer. And pickings were slim. But somehow at the 11th hour, we got a hold of one of Orion's closest, most intimate childhood friends, who between Bradley and Orion, they raised each other on drumming. They were musicians and just the closest buddies, and they spent, from when they were kids up until their, early 20s, just being the best of pals and raising each other musically.
Yeah, through drumming, yes.
And then they lost touch with each other. And then, I'm at the time where Bradley and Orion lost contact, Orion found us. So where one road ended, another one just began. And we spent the next 20 years with Orion. So Bradley had the first 20 years, we had the second 20 years with Orion. And when we needed a drummer at the 11th hour, we got the other half of Orion's story that just showed up gift wrapped to us.
I just read Bradley's beautiful memorial that he put on Facebook.
Yeah.
And the pictures that he had of Orion in 8th grade and 7th grade, and whatnot. And I was like, gosh, this guy, I've never heard of Bradley. I don't remember Orion, I vaguely, maybe in passing, his friend Brad. But I was thinking it was another, he had a million friends. So, it was hard to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I did read Bradley's Facebook entry there. And I was just like, wow, that's super impressive. He's as close as we are, So then I got the date right here. You'll have to forgive me. I wasn't texting. I was looking for the date. I was speaking with Jamie. Jamie was freaking out. Okay, look, if we don't find a drummer in 2 days, this thing's bust. And, I was feeling the heat. I get it. But anyway, the date was July 18th. And my message to Bradley Bills says, I'm going to send you a list for the show. Please, as soon as today, if possible. At least by tomorrow. This is the 2-day frame that Jamie gave me. Let me know if you would be able to fill in. This is to Bradley. And I told him I surely don't mean to sound cold or corporate. It just, we are on the 11th hour. I sent you this, as Jamie put it, and I have to say I absolutely agree. And I sent it. He got back to me that day. He said, I'm listening to those specific tracks right now, and we'll get back to you. My only reservation is, and I got to say, I need everybody to know that 18 months prior to this date yesterday, the man had an accident, was paralyzed for 5 minutes, full body. Mm-hmm. Had to relearn how to walk. Had to relearn how to move his arms.
Yeah.
Had to relearn how to drum again.
And he has to do it learning Orion's parts.
Well, the amazing thing about that is there's this guy, and everything, all the boxes are checked. The man is a compatriot of Orion Quest. He's a phenomenal drummer. He had suffered an accident while playing on tour, and had just gotten well enough to play right in time to meet our schedule, and show up to the funeral, and just speak. It was perfect. It's exactly what should have happened. And
Yes.
I mean, we were so fortunate, so lucky, so like,
The man
It
has
just
the same
couldn't-
and he
blood.
just came, and he like again, it's like this ghost from the past that means as much to Orion as we do to Orion, but from a totally different world that we knew nothing about, come walking out of the mist into our world, and now both halves of Orion's life like meet.
Same energy, same
You know?
blood. Man, it's
Cut from
amazing.
the same cloth.
Motherfucking
Absolutely,
movie.
Just-
he's such
Yeah.
a sweet person. He's just amazing.
And he
And it's
answered
a
the call. He answered the call.
He answered the call.
The level of professionalism. I mean, it just supersedes anything I've ever seen. And it's like, it's so overwhelming that part of my frustration was I didn't want to present, and you guys know how I feel about that. I didn't want to present that unprofessional in front of such a professional.
Right.
He's a perfectionist. He is an absolute to the root of any kind of perfection.
Well, it's
know?
every like fiber of my being tells me that this is a guy that's doing everything for the right reasons, and he does exactly what it takes to do that. Nothing more, nothing less.
It's an example setter.
Yep.
I mean, the way he broke down, set up, broke down. I mean, just an absolute professional. Bradley, I just can't say it enough. When you see this podcast,
Yeah.
I mean, my absolute hats off, and I honestly can't wait to play with you again. Let's go to the rehearsal.
Yeah.
The night before.
Mhm.
In that room, I saw you, and you just had that, like, you remembered some parts that you and Orion did,
Right.
Because I saw you slamming them. You'd pick them and you'd move your bass a certain way just to see if it was going to land, and
Yeah.
you landed every one of them.
There's
And you
these
gave me
li-
that look like,
He knows.
Yeah.
He got it. That
and it felt like Orion was in the room
yeah.
in that rehearsal. Like it was amazing.
Because
Oh, yeah, he
there's
was.
these little parts
That
where
y'all
they
would
would be for any other drummer would be easy to leave out, easy to overlook, and they were there. These little tiny anchor points that especially came up like all that stuff developed from us playing live.
Yes.
And so for him to know that and do it, those tiny little things that you could take them or leave them, they wouldn't mean anything really. And they were there.
Yeah.
Oh, God dang it.
For the rhythm section to be happy is what you absolutely need.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I saw Kid happy again at that rehearsal, and I was just like, wow,
Yep. So the show itself, afterwards, I mean, just before and after, the energy was so amazing to see so many people there for Orion. Everybody paying tribute, and there was just, I mean, God, I can't even count how many fucking people I talked to or came out of the woodworks after the show.
The Kid comes up and says, last time I saw y'all was 8.
Oh yeah, we
You
had
know,
a
a few fans up
long
there.
time fan.
And then the people wanted CDs. It just felt like there we were again.
Yeah.
Right in
People are
that-
asking for merch,
You
asking
know.
for CDs.
I want a damn shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, that one's a shirt. We gotta find a way to get her
It
a
just
shirt.
the time of everything. It just couldn't come together quick enough, and
Yeah.
for those that did ask, if y'all are watching, we'll make sure you get your
We're gonna
CD.
take care of you.
Absolutely. Steph, let's kind of talk about the man himself, Orion. When did you first meet Orion? Because I remember that you and I met around
About
2000,
12 years ago.
About 2000.
Yeah.
Now,
Me and you met about, yeah.
no, we met in 2012.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So that's like 9 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
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 But Orion was around me at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Just the first first moments I met the man, it's just something so heartfelt and genuine and just kind. The man's kind eyes, and I was just so fortunate to be able to kindle a friendship with him. That would grow closer and closer over the years, as all good friendships
Yeah,
should.
I mean that's kind of the way it happened. We met in 2012. Orion and I were already, fucking around in bands for years and
yeah.
years, and he was always around. But you were always like kind of in and out, so you
Yeah.
didn't really get a chance to really meet him. It wasn't about till like 2018 where
Yeah.
you and I started being roommates. Orion was always around. We had started the podcast at that point. We had a really strong regiment about recording on every Monday, plus all the other sub podcasts that we would do. So
Yeah.
he was always around, and
Yeah.
then there was always practice.
And of course,
You
there
were-
was research and development for podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah, we actually put you in charge of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So you and Orion developed just a really strong bond just from you being around.
Yeah.
You guys were more friendly than Orion and I was, because at that point Orion and I had already known each other for a billion years. He
That's
comes around.
the
there's-
difference in brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Right.
So
for you,
siblings
it's
and
like
friends, you know.
Yeah. So when Orion comes around, it's like we take care of business, but y'all go have fun while I'm fucking around with the numbers. You know, y'all go fucking watch a movie and do
Yeah,
some
yeah.
shit. Orion, I'm gonna mix this goddamn album. You know? That kind of thing. But you guys did become very, very tight to the point where you guys eventually became roommates.
Yeah.
And like that's how close you were. I'm gonna pass it on to Joe real quick. And like Joe, we essentially met Orion at the same time. And but is there anything about Orion, like maybe a story between you and him, or maybe something that sticks out that we did like live, or something that happened on the road that just when you think of it, you think fucking Orion. That goddamn it, that's the guy. That's
You know, this. I mean, we could talk a lot. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and it could be real. This should be like 2 episodes.
right.
So, but real quick, you know, just a couple things real quick in my mind. And like I said, we did meet probably about the same time, 98, 99, out there in the club scene. And then, of course, the day he actually came knocked on our door during a rehearsal and wanted to jam with us. That's where it really began. But, you know, in the co-days, we were somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere. It might have been Abilene. I don't know.
We were always somewhere.
We were somewhere. But I just remember being country.
Jamie, we had a rehearsal hall that we were paying for.
Yeah.
It came to a point that we played so much, it was just a storage.
It was just storage, yeah.
We would load out and load back in, and we wouldn't see it again till the very next weekend. Load out, load in for years. It became a storage that we were paying for instead of an actual rehearsal place, because we were always booked. Anyway,
So
about
I
that.
just remember a lot of country around, a lot of land. Okay, and we'd finished our set, and we were in the process of tearing down or whatever. And I guess Orion was done, and he goes, "Hey, Razzo, come here, Razzo, come here." I was like, "What's up?" Come here for a second. So let's go sit at the bar. So we went and sat at the bar, and he's like, "How you feeling? How you feeling?" You know, I'm good. Because I'm proud of this. I'm proud. We're doing good. I'm proud of what's going on with Co. I was like, yeah, I'm happy about it, man. You know, it's just a little reminiscent, just a little bit, taking time out, you know. And he goes, let's get a beer. It's like, all right, let's get a beer. So I remember, there's a bunch of country areas, what I was saying. So we sat down, ordered us 2 beers. So we're chit-chatting a little bit more, and then the next thing you know, they bring the beers to us. And we both look over at the beers, and then we look back at each other, and Orion gives me one of those looks. He tilts his head with his big eyes. These beers almost were the size of 2 liters. And I'm
Greatness.
like, are we supposed to drink all this? So anyway, there was that, and that was a fun time. And then there was another time where I didn't know he was a big hockey nut as I was. Because you know,
he wore a Toronto Maple Leaf
hat
forever.
I'm about the Dallas Stars, and when I saw that Maple Leafs hat, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, what? I like all hockey. I said, all right, can't fault you for that. Can't fault you for that. So all right, so if you're that way, then let's go. So we went to some Stars games.
Oh, that's awesome! I didn't know
Nice.
that.
Yeah, I took him to some Stars games, but before I get into that, we had this thing, a Star Wars thing.
Oh,
So when he would always do this, it's Chewbacca, right? Right. So there was this Chewbacca thing.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a reason why I'm saying that. So we go to these Stars games, the hockey games, and you know it's fun up there. You know he's up there sitting down, hollering and whatnot. Hit him, push him, whatever, you know. And there's one particular moment he leans over and he looks at me because the seats they're close, so he leans over like away from me and he looks at me and he goes, they didn't make these seats with Wookiees in mind. So he had to kind of wiggle in and wiggle out, you know what I mean? So I mean, there's so much, that we can talk about, but those are cool times, man.
I want to pass it on to Jose, and the same thing I asked Joe. Like, what sticks out?
Biggest thing that's like number one is we laughed for 4.5 years.
My fucking
God damn it!
Yes.
man.
I mean, from the time of loadout to back to, like I said, to the storage room, not the rehearsal room, to the time of loading back in, I would leave, go back to Mineral Wells with such a sore abdomen from the whole weekend of just nothing but, stomach gripping laughter. It was always about like we were never that band that I love Cove for this reason. There were no vices. There were no external adversaries that we brought in ourselves.
Right.
None. No alcohol, no dope, no stupid nothing.
We weren't there to party.
We
weren't
had
there to...
business to handle. We were very serious about what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I know for one, I had to have it that way because I like to see stuff build. And then so Orion was always wanting the song to build, I should say rhythm section.
Right.
The thing that sticks out also for me is the fact that I probably will never play with the rhythm section like you and Orion were. It's just, I had auditioned for Code like 3 times. Like, they gave me 3 songs.
We put you through your paces.
I had to show up 3 times,
We were going to take anybody.
But, so, and like I said, it wasn't about ripping a lead or, are you a jam style or are you this? It was that one little bitty A minor part that I picked out 3 strings, but it was that simple, intricate that made him stop. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, can you remember that snare? And what I meant to say yesterday, I just couldn't think of the word, is he hit the snare, but, and I don't know how he hits it with these little 7/8 sticks that he uses, because, like, seriously, he hit such a rim shot that I felt my eardrum just ring. It started ringing. He hit it so hard and yelled stop.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew that, my spot was probably secured, because he was shaking. He couldn't believe it.
That's the thing. When you played that part, he pointed at you accusingly.
Yeah.
So you were either going to be asked to leave,
right,
or
it was that intense.
We're going to get the job.
Yeah, it was that
and he
moment.
gave you the job right there. He's like, this is the guy that we need.
I can see his face right now.
Yeah.
I wasn't there
he
in that
was,
moment.
Listen, his
eyes as big as saucers.
yeah.
So
serious
I want to
face.
know if you remember anything driving home that, because y'all came to practice together.
I do
After that
remember
part-
when we settled on you. Settled. That's a
Oh,
shitty way to
thanks,
say
yeah,
that.
right. I settled on y'all. You got it all fucked up.
Oh man,
Shoot.
the gloves come off.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is how this
UFC.
laughter would start right here, and it would not end. Just wouldn't end.
Exactly. but when we got you, and I do remember the ride home, we were so relieved. It felt like we could do what we were meant to do. Because we had gone through, 2 other guys.
At least
that,
2 other guys, right?
That kind of fit the bill, that just kind of made us sound like a band, But once you did what you did, and Orion heard it, and he snapped.
Yeah.
You were in.
It was.
We started tearing ass almost immediately.
Oh
After
gosh.
that. Immediately.
We were in the studio 3 weeks later. 5 songs.
Yeah.
Demo.
Constantly
Blah, blah. I
practicing.
mean, it just never stopped. Just never stopped. Kid had a PV bass. I had just bought that Parker. I didn't even know how to, and I bought an effects processor I didn't even know how to use. I'm better writing and almost performing just straight amp to guitar, Angus Young style. Now I do like it a little wet. Who doesn't, right? But
Right.
I'm just saying, just the emotion that invoked Orion by that little simple. I just never forgot that, and that let me know that that's where I needed to work from. And I was like, okay, that's why you get solos like on Open Letter.
Right.
You know, I sat there. It took me 2 days to write that solo because I knew what the story was about.
Yeah.
And for those out there, Open Letter is a song that Ryan wrote about his mother and just a little bit of issues that they had that they couldn't resolve before she passed. And so I wanted to give that
Right.
what the best I could, you know.
Yeah,
And
the song was a kind of a maternal lament. Again, just like you said, unresolved issues. So it's not a song to take lightly.
Right.
It may sound like a rock song, but Orion didn't do anything in half measures. He knew he was in a rock band, but he didn't treat it like it didn't mean anything. Like you could just, oh, it's just a rock band. It's like, hey, I got a rock band. This is the sound. Here's the message. And I'm not pulling back from it, not pulling punches.
Right.
And I think that energy and our humor and like the Venn diagram of our experiences and our what we loved and how we loved to be together in the same room and on stage fed that it fed the message that was being said.
I mean,
everything fed everything in the most positive way, and it's because Orion and I didn't settle.
that's right.
You know, that's why 3 auditions.
Well-
It's why taking time. It's why everything seemed. You know, when you say Orion smacked his snare drum and stopped the song because he caught you doing something, that may seem like a melodramatic thing, but it's because time was of the essence. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
We don't want to fuck around.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe some melodramatic things happen that sound maybe a little poetic or whatever in a way where, like, if you take a step back, you're like, oh, I mean, come on, it's just a rock band. No. This is literally our time we're spending, and time is the most valuable thing that anybody has.
I think the magic, too, was that I think all 4 of us were at a point where we're like, okay, this is my last rock band.
Yeah.
If
there was
I
that
cannot,
sensibility as
if
well.
I cannot make this work with these guys, I will never. That's what I was. When I got in from the first day, or when that happened and the train started rolling, I was like, man, if I cannot and make it. Let me rephrase that. Make it to me meant that we were gaining a living and paychecks and affording a living
Right.
off our craft, our art, our music.
Right.
Not the $3.5 million,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
while, you know, that's, to me, that's just all extras, right?
Right.
I'm just talking about sustaining ourselves, sustaining what families we may have through our craft. Okay.
Right.
That would be making it for me.
Some of the most ecstatic times I've ever had in a band have occurred at co-rehearsals. There was a song that we were working on, I guess it was around probably 2004-ish, called Word. And it does that for the sake of the story, the song in of itself is inconsequential. It's the feeling that I had when we had finally started to massage this thing into a kind of a musical frenzy in a way that just reinforced how correct being in this band was. And we had finally nailed this song, and the energy was so high, and the parts were exactly like, it felt like it went from imagination to a living state. Mm-hmm. And I was so ecstatic that I literally had to open the door, run outside,
remember that.
and I
He
screamed
screamed
at
to
the
parking lot.
sky.
Yes.
I screamed at the sky. Fuck yeah! That's how you do it, motherfuckers!
That's exactly what you said.
I was looking to my left and my right for any band that might be around, so I could scream at them. This is how you do it.
let me add to that real quick. I was on a clean channel. Orion had his stool and a fucking hi-hat in front of him. Do you remember that?
Yep.
and Jamie on bass. And we wrote the word in, I guess, an hour and change. It got the parts got completed. The arrangement got completed in about an hour and 20, 30 maybe. Yeah. And all the while we had Pimpedelic behind us. A wall. For those of you who know, Pimpedelic was a North Texas band that eventually got signed several times, and they were kind of rap rock punk kind of deal, and it was like a Run DMC and Aerosmith kind of deal on that Walk This Way video, where across the wall you had Run DMC, and then on one side you had Aerosmith.
Exactly. So on one side you had these like really obnoxious, loud douchebags. Just a band full of douchebags. And on the other side of the wall where we practice was just a humble meat and potatoes, kind of artsy, shy.
But we'd kick your ass.
But we'll kick your ass when it comes to it. But we're trying. And y'all are just doing meth, and and they were the bane of our existence because we were just trying to work.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to the word, I've never seen, and that's when I knew when the emotion that I invoked in you to open the door and go yell at the parking lot, and then just the fact that we wrote a song with just a hi-hat.
Yep. Yeah. Jose, you have another story, and I'm dying to hear it.
Okay, this story, and because we already talked about the laughter and whatnot, this goes back to when I was at Mars Music circa 2001. It was 2001 because that's when all this became. It was in the fall, somewhere around Thanksgiving, something like that, because our first rehearsal date was December 8th. So anyhow, I go to this board. Guitarist needed, singer wanted, bass player, whatever. And out of all these had like cool graphics and logos, and I mean all this. And what was funny is, I am that graphic guy. I love blah blah blah, shiny stuff, all that, right?
Right.
So, but what attracted me was that one that was in just absolute no.
Okay.
Bold.
Yeah.
Did you make that? You probably did.
I made that, and I know what you're about to say. You're about to go on about
I heard the story last night.
How humble. How humble.
There was no frill to this paper, okay? But
hold on. I'm going to tell you, as the person that wrote that very humble guitarist wanted poster, it's not because we were super cool and laid back and we weren't trying to create an air of mystery. Printer ink is expensive. New Times Roman, 12-point font, black and white. And yeah.
No bold, no italicized, nothing. Okay?
Use as little words as possible because we need to print a bunch of these out.
It was a half sheet. Yeah, it was great. So anyway, is this seeking guitarist? The thing that caught my eye was the influences, which range from Rush to.
Oh, it was all kinds of weird stuff.
There's about 8 of them. But
it was a lot of, because it was Orion and I.
Yes. Oh, I forgot. Y'all had Yes on there also.
It was a lot of progressive bands. All your classic, your Rushes, your Yeses, your King Crimsons, your Genesis, old school.
All that.
Those kind of things. The Police. And then there was my weird influences, which was They Might Be Giants and Tom Waits.
Yes, they were.
And then there was some where our Venn diagram kind of crossed, he and I. So you'd get Primus. We put a lot of different bands on there. So it was, I would imagine for any guitar player, that seems, you're in the worst cover band in the world. What is this? All these influences. Or it would seem really intimidating. Am I supposed to know a bunch of math rock and a bunch of weird college radio shit? I could imagine how weird it would probably seem to you.
And you're right, because, it had the little classic tear this off and telephone number deal. Well, I left it one time. I came back. I left it again. And something just was bugging me. It's just, man, just call that number. See if you can keep up with these kids, because that's what it sounded like, Because the influences were all over the place. I was like, they got to be, 20.
You were right You were
know?
kind of right.
Yeah, you were.
Because I was well, no,
You were
I was
18.
like no. I was like 2021.
Okay.
And Orion's 7 years my senior,
Yep.
so he was probably 27, 28, 27.
That's
28.
right.
Yeah.
So I get this. I go back the third time, and this gives me chills because of the whole history of what's gone on and where we're at today and everything. Instead of just being humble and turn off a little, I took the whole thing. I was like, nah, because that's what the energy said to do at that time.
You know what? And that's exactly that's exactly the kind of guy we needed.
I just,
That's
man, and to this day, I
we
love
needed
when
a guy that wasn't gonna fuck around.
not fuck up though, right? Just not fuck around. So anyway, I tear it out, and I love running in this. And I gotta find it. I gotta get y'all a copy because my favorite thing on it is the tack mark, the tack. Where I ripped it off, the rip on it. It's just
Nice.
that rip created, or it started the ball moving in the direction that the universe wanted it to.
Yep,
kind of
absolutely.
deal. So I go home, and the whole drive home, I'm feeling so good about this paper I just ripped off the wall. Just man, I look at it again at every red light and whatever, and I'm just like, it just started to kind of like just started to speak to me like, don't fuck around. Be sure you call this And I don't know. Well, I'll have to get the paper. There's maybe 3 or 4 ripped off. Like I guess the 2 or 3 that maybe called. That called. I don't know.
Could be.
But,
Could be.
So it's kind of neat paper. I got to find it.
Yeah.
I just didn't have time. So I call the number, and just like I said in the story before, just an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 of Orion. And he said, yeah, my name's Orion Quest. I was like, oh. I was like, okay, stage name already, okay, and for the next hour and 15, I was just like, I didn't get a word in, and I like to talk, so already we were clashing, So this guy, this Orion Quest was just like this and this and this and this, and okay, yeah, sure, blah blah blah, and do gear and just the whole gambit. I will forever miss him. A great guitar player can learn so much from a drummer.
Oh my god.
And become greater.
Oh my god, yes.
And that's what happened. Is just the improvement in me through just his few words. Like, hey, try this, do this. When I do this time, do this. You will come in on this dotted. Okay, I'll dotted. Got you.
Musicians listening, word to the wise. If you're a guitar player with ambition and you have actual passion for music, if you find a decent drummer, like a drummer that like, wow, I'm playing with this guy, listen to him.
Absolutely.
Listen to him.
Because it will be his band. I
Yep.
promise you. You will learn later as a seasoned musician
Yeah.
that your drummer should be the strongest point of the band. No doubt. No doubt. Not the keyboard player, not the guitar player, that drummer, because that drummer will make the bass player better. That rhythm section will make the guitars better and the keyboards better. And then the vocals over kick-ass music, it's a hit.
Yeah, you wouldn't have fucking nerd talk. Talk about the ins and outs of music theory on like high level. You go have coffee with that motherfucker. You want to smoke a bowl? Talk to your bass player. He's worthless. But you want to know how to be in a band appropriately. Land yourself the best drummer you've ever
A
heard.
world-class drummer.
Yeah, that's it. That's the foundation. All right, so Stephanie, I said we were gonna circle back to you, and you had some final things that you wanted to say.
Oh, yeah. I'd just touch on some fun times
Yeah, what's up?
I remember with him. But what I really want to touch on is something that relates to all of y'all and something that me and Jamie and Orion shared together. I don't know if y'all have heard this song yet, but a song named Smoke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Jamie wrote a song named Smoke, and
Yeah,
it's
when I
like,
was 19 years old. Yeah.
yeah, it's like her, inner feelings, Tom Waits type.
Yeah. I was like just discovering Tom Waits, and I wanted to see, can I do that kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I mean,
what
you
about
even
it?
did the
What, like-
you even did the voice for him when you played it for me.
Yeah. What about it though?
You set up. I went to rehearsal with y'all one time at the studio.
Oh yeah.
Man, and you set up. Y'all had it set up. You wanted this raw texture sound, and I've always been a fan of that shit, especially now.
Just noises.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
yeah.
and what you had set up is you said, okay, we're not gonna do a drum kit. We're not gonna do acoustic drum kit. We're not gonna have any of that here. We want a different sound for this. You brought in pots and pans and fucking skillets and tongs, chopsticks,
weird hard hollow surfaces.
Yeah,
and
tables.
What we did was I brought in all kinds of pots and pans and like hard hollow surfaces, and we kind of made this like makeshift kit around Orion. And this is for like recording some tracks for an album that's going to be released from Orion and I's band, This Island Earth. We're essentially complete with an album. I just got to mix it down. But one of those tracks was that song "Smoke." And okay, now I know what you're talking about. And so what you're saying is that we all got to hang out together that night when we were recording those parts.
He was recording his stems for that part.
Yeah.
And I got to be there for his whole recording of the of his stems, and man, it was just fucking magical what he was making with those pots with just sounds. You know, there's no way you could tune pots and pans that sounds like that, and it was just fucking, I don't know. That's something that I'll live with forever.
When you strip away pretense, when you stop trying to sell a black t-shirt, when
Yeah.
you strip away cool, when you stop trying to make it,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to search for the sound.
It was raw, and it was emotion, and it was passion, and I was just like blown away.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's all we were trying to do. And it was just for one little thing, for one little part of a song, and it's all that effort. You know? And
Yeah.
that's why it was so good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you did not know what the numbers meant in that, I'm going back to the song word, you know.
So with that song, the idea was from Orion, of course, and that number was an individual's prison number, right?
Right.
Hey, let's add this.
Yeah.
That song is about that one wisdom-filled man that's been in prison longer than anybody.
Right.
Which to me, I always thought that, you know, when Orion, that was what Orion's feeling was when he was in, you know, because he did jail time.
Yeah.
It's no secret. We're cool with that.
No, we have podcast episodes about that.
Yeah. So anyway, I think he created, because he's a creator. We all know that. I think he created this guy, and maybe some of the feelings that he felt when he, you know, as I don't want to be here again. So he's talking to himself.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
If you think about the words in the word, he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
About, well, anyway, go ahead, Joe, about the prison number.
So the prison number came about because, you know, everything had to mean something. Musically, vocally, lyrically. There was a meaning to everything, and that's why there was so much of our heart and soul in what we did. So the prison number came about where, you know, I got to come up with some kind of number. So, well, it all means something. So this number is going to mean something. And I couldn't think of anything else better than 1932425. So people are wondering, what do those numbers mean? I had someone tell me, hey, I was looking in the Bible to find this verse or whatever, you know, trying to figure out what those numbers meant. And to me, it's a no-brainer because it was about us, the band. 19, it's Jose's birthday.
March 19th.
March 19th. 3, July 3rd. It's your birthday. I'm April 24th. And Orion, March 25th.
Fucking A.
193245.
You know, I'm sure there's some point where you told me that and I knew it, but that information just went away from my head. And to find out that that's what that meant during practice a few days ago,
Yeah.
I had no idea. And I was like, oh, ooh, it felt good. It felt good to learn that.
You know, and when I told Orion that, we talked about that. I told him, of course, he corrected me. Oh, you got too many numbers in there. So I was like, that's good though. It don't matter. So
How funny. One more note. This directs to Jamie.
Yeah.
when we were in Co. For 4 straight years, we were booked every July 3rd.
God damn.
Sometimes twice. I remember the third one. Oh, I'm good. It's only my 3rd birthday. I hadn't had off. Hey, remember, we're having a blast everywhere we went,
Hell
right?
yeah.
We played one on a trailer with fireworks over us.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh God,
Something like that.
to play a show on your birthday, that's the best thing to me. Absolutely.
Nice.
Thank Co for that.
Yeah, it was funny, dude.
So now we got the 3rd
Yeah.
and the 4th.
Yeah. Now we got the 3rd and the 4th. These are very important dates now.
Yeah.
I didn't tell a big, long story about Orion because for listeners of the show, you guys have been a part of our day-to-day life, Orion and I, together, and we've told so many stories. We've spoken about the bands we've been in. We've put on, like, live shows musically that are part of the podcast. There's so much that you guys have been able to witness, treasured memories that have come to a bittersweet end. So there's not a whole, there's stories that I'm going to tell over the years. But you guys have seen so much. You've seen the most important parts, and that is why the stories matter. You've seen the love between Orion and I. You know why we had a show, why we even bothered. And so, I just want to say, Orion Quest, Jason Talbert, I love you. And I always will. And we're going to keep doing this show. And we're going to keep making music. Because Orion wouldn't have it any other way. And with that, I'm going to end tonight's podcast. Everybody out there, take care of yourselves. Live and love fully. Life is short. Good night.